All right, we're going to interrupt our sports report there, and Darren Haynes for this breaking news. You're looking live at a police chase. This is a stolen vehicle out of Beverly Hills, and obviously, I would say that Desmond is over in airspace that probably near LAX, so he's having a little difficulty there.
Yeah, but we do know CHP did pit this driver at least once, but the driver is still going. Desmond, what have you seen so far up in SkyCal?
Yep, here we are in everyone's favorite airspace here. We are in South LA, of course, on the approach end of LAX, so that's why you're seeing the shot that we're providing you right now. But it's a stolen vehicle that came out of Beverly Hills, and they actually gave up the pursuit pretty quickly. But LA County Sheriff's deputies had their helicopter overhead, and they tried to get CHP involved, and CHP did get involved. Wow, now this car is really, really flying along here. Look at this. We're like 85 miles an hour along Slauson. So it was in Beverly Hills, went south 405, then came to the Ladera Heights area. We've been down by Hawthorne Airport. This guy's been all over the place, this stolen Kia Soul. And then we heard another very peculiar detail as well, as we heard CHP on the radio saying that it looked like the vehicle was trying to ram the patrol officers, and then another Kia Soul came along and tried to ram the suspect. Don't know what that was all about. Very, very bizarre. We haven't even been able to get close enough to this vehicle to see what kind of damage there is to it. Maybe I see a little bit of rear bumper damage, not quite sure. But we are in LAX's airspace here. You see some pretty high speeds with a stolen vehicle here, Chauncey and Pat.
You know what, Desmond, were you overhead, or did you actually witness officers pitting this vehicle? Because I'm just wondering at what kind of speed this car was going when they attempted that maneuver. We know, they don't like to do it over 30 miles per hour, but if they feel they need to, they will. Do you have any information?
No, as a matter of fact, it was not a pit maneuver. We had heard there that they had requested a pit maneuver, and the pursuing officers were denied doing a pit because the speeds have been so high. So it sounds like it was just like the patrol cars were trying to kind of box the suspect in, and then the suspect pushed through them. And that's what it sounds like. That all happened just before we got to air with this one. And then, the other detail with that other car is very, very bizarre indeed. So you can see here we're kind of on the north end of the Bravo, tracking this as good as we can. 90 miles an hour, is that for real on Slauson Avenue? I mean, this is just really, really insane. And it makes you wonder if CHP is even going to continue with this. I mean, total insanity right here. Quite a bit of traffic out here, freeway speeds on Slauson Avenue.
And Desmond, I want to clarify this. Did you say the car tried to ram a police officer, and then a different Kia Soul tried to ram the stolen Kia Soul?
That's what we heard. That it sounded like something like that. I know it's extremely bizarre, but that was the initial radio traffic, that we heard. Now we're getting the best view that we've had so far, and you can see there is quite a bit of rear damage there to the vehicle. So. That may have been from that other vehicle that came and got involved, and CHP was wondering. We heard them; they were saying it sounded like they were thinking that maybe they were in cahoots or something like that. But everything is just happening so quickly here. Who knows what the deal is? But I don't think there's any units behind it at this immediate moment. They may have backed off a little bit because of the really insane speeds on this one.
Well, they're certainly keeping up with it overhead. That's the case. CHP doing a good job. And, of course, Mike, too, if he's up there with you, Des. Okay, so I see they've made a turn now onto La Brea in the View Park area. Do we know if this is one person? We've seen these types of pursuits so many times. There are going to be several people jumping out of the vehicle at some point, dispersing. Do we know if it's one person driving this car?
Haven't heard about how many people are inside of the vehicle at this point. I mean, it's not at all uncommon to see, multiple people in these vehicles here and, get out and run. Unfortunately now, it's not good for us with the vehicle turning southbound right now. We're kind of hamstrung where we're at. We're really getting deep into LAX's airspace, kind of, headed down towards SoFi Stadium now at this point. La Brea turns into Prairie, but you can see, those pretty high, well, maybe slowing down a little bit here. So obviously, that spotlight, and that is exactly why we're not able to follow this into that airspace. Oh, there you go. You do have a unit behind them right now. Let's see if they maybe try to come in with a pit maneuver right here. Ooh. Are they gonna? Wow.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they just kind of tried to ran him right there on the side. Look at that, CHP. It was kind of strange. It wasn't really a pit. He just kind of seemed to come along the side of him and try to push him into the sidewalk. Didn't work though, and the vehicle now continuing. So La Brea and Hyde Park now continuing farther west here. This one's going to get pretty difficult for us, but we'll see what we can do here.
Well,
okay, westbound.
I don't know if desperate is the right word to put here. So that's twice that they've made contact with a police vehicle, and that one we certainly saw, thought that the vehicle would be stopped, but no, he or she continued to go. We have not really been able to confirm who's actually driving this vehicle. Mike, do you have any information?
Yeah, we're trying to figure this out. So I've got my colleagues. Beverly Hills has a very sophisticated network of license plate readers. So we're kind of thinking that that's maybe how they picked it up, as one of the cameras got a hit on the stolen plate and notified officers. So because of the high speeds, there's probably a decent chance that the police officers don't know how many people are inside of it.
Not really.
And then you had this really weird situation where that second Kia Soul started ramming the stolen Kia Soul, and that really got officers trying to figure out how to find that second Kia Soul after that happened. So that situation was very weird, but CHP has been very aggressive on this. As you mentioned, this is the second time that they made contact with that car, and as Des pointed out, not really a pit maneuver. They kind of tried to block him in a little bit, but that didn't seem to work because that suspect was able to kind of get out as we're getting a better look at the car now.
And Mike, I know you talked about this earlier about the maneuver the pit being requested but denied. So was there a first one, or was that the first maneuver that we've seen tonight?
This would have been the second. When they were on the freeway, they asked for permission to do a pit maneuver, and the watch commanders denied them until they got off of the freeway onto surface streets. So then CHP was going to set up some spike strips on the 405, but then he got off the 405 before he could reach a spike strip. So there was one attempt kind of near the 105 and the 110 where CHP tried that pit maneuver. That's where we heard that the car backed in. That's where we heard the car backed into the to the suspect there, and it looks like they may be trying to catch up to do another one, but that's really fast to do a pit maneuver right there.
It is, but they're right on the tail of that. Keystone Cops there.
Yeah. Yeah, another really close one. I mean, CHP is really wanting to shut this one down. Any opportunity they get, I mean, look at them coming up again. Looks like they might try something. They are really indicating that they mean business tonight, and we know that that is often the case with CHP. Let's see if they get another attempt in right here. Looks like it might try something. And very close. Yeah, just they look like the suspect dodged that attempt right there, or maybe the officer stopped at the last second. I mean, there are a lot of parked vehicles right here. You know, you could have a lot of property damage that could add up if this spins into another vehicle. But now headed back, so just kind of circling around now. And we heard about this earlier, just before we went to air with this, that they were really just kind of circling around the same area down around the 110 and the 105, and now they're kind of doing this in the Inglewood area as well. Right? Oh my goodness! Oh
Did he hit somebody?
Wow!
Looks like he clipped that.
No, it was really close, really close.
Now,
They're going to tackle this driver. Boy, they are going to be very unhappy about that. That officer almost got creamed by that car, but I think he jumped out of the way at the very last second. But this suspect is booking it now on Centinela Avenue, but so many officers around. They should hopefully be able to get this person on the ground shortly. Glad that the vehicle crashed. I mean, at least the danger to the public is over as far as the driving goes. Now into the alleyway here. We're not going to be able to follow this one, unfortunately, but back behind an apartment complex, and we'll see if they can get this person into custody. There you see officers surrounding this complex on foot off Enterprise and Centinela Avenue. But back into this area right now. That was a very close call for that officer on the ground, guys.
No question about that. I'm sure they're going to set up a perimeter there and make sure they get this person in custody, because that was so dangerous, and it could have been much worse as we witnessed this. I thought he actually hit somebody looking at, what appeared to be a shadow, but very fortunate that that officer got out of the way. But, here again, these thieves do this. They commit these kinds of crimes, and knowing at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get caught. You're going to get taken into custody. And they are certainly on their mark and trying to get this person in handcuffs tonight, that's for sure. Looks like a lot of activity, Desmond, and so sorry that we're not able to actually see what's going on behind these buildings. But then again, as you mentioned, we're very, very close to restricted airspace, and that building is in the way as well.
And when that suspect got out of the car, Des, he was booking it. Where, do you know, or did you see where he went here within this apartment complex?
Well, we didn't see exactly, but I can hear the helicopter overhead, the tactical flight officer calling out the exact area here underneath their spotlight, trying to guide more officers into the area. From the tone of his voice, I mean, it sounds like he still has eyes on the suspect, either in one of the, there's quite a few apartment complexes down here, but hopefully we're going to see them let out in handcuffs here in the next couple of minutes. But and I couldn't tell if we only saw that one person get out and run, or if there was anyone else. It all happened so quickly. Up.
Mike, do you see something?
I think I heard him say they're making contact right now.
Yeah, he just ran where that officer's running. The suspect just ran around the tree right there. Oh. And there was an officer right behind him, so hopefully they'll,
Pat, I was looking at the video, that replay when he came through. It did look like there was someone there standing beside the car.
Yeah, it was frightening to actually, what we did see.
Yeah.
There are things obviously that we could not because of darkness, but even what we saw looked very concerning. But that's another reason they certainly want to get this guy in handcuffs. And it is a guy, right, Mike? We can't confirm that.
Yes. And it looks like there he is.
Yep,
yeah, they're walking.
Yep, there he is.
Is that the perp walk? They've got the perp?
Yep.
All right, Jess.
I think that was a CHP officer that we almost saw get hit by the vehicle there. He had gotten out of his patrol car. I think he was afraid that the driver was going to plow right into his car, and nearly plowed right into him, but he jumped out of the way at the last second, or appeared to anyway. I'm sure that officer is very, very shaken up, but after that short foot pursuit, the suspect now in custody, and it was another close call with a maniac driver of a stolen vehicle tonight in the Inglewood area.
So, Pat, you're right. That was an officer standing who had gotten outside of the car, who was standing right there when we saw that very, very close call.
Yeah, that could have been much worse than it is tonight. And you can imagine the adrenaline that those officers were having chasing this vehicle, because it was going at speed sometimes, certainly, well over 70 miles an hour. We're going to send our KCAL viewers away back to regular programming. If you'd like to see the rest of this break, we are on KCAL News at 11 o'clock on CBS Los Angeles. And we have been watching a pursuit that started in the Beverly Hills area, a stolen vehicle, a Kia Soul at that. And it has just come to an end as officers finally got this person in handcuffs. But we should toss to Desmond Shaw. So, Desmond, you can give us the play-by-play as you saw this happening live.
Yeah, Pat, so here we are off Enterprise and Centinela where this came to an end. It began in Beverly Hills, but it quickly transferred to CHP after it got on the freeways, and CHP really stuck with this one through Hawthorne and South LA and Inglewood, Hyde Park area, coming to a crashing end before the suspect got out and ran on foot. I believe we have tried to re-rack that video there where it was a very, very close call for that officer who was in his patrol car kind of blocking the street, and when he saw that it looked like the suspect was going to come ram head on into his car, he got out to try to jump out of the way. Very, very close, but it appeared that the officer made it out of the way unscathed. And then this person was flying down the street on foot on Enterprise Avenue into this neighborhood. But because CHP was right behind the suspect at the time, they had their helicopter. They were able to guide officers in and bring them out in handcuffs. So once again, amazing. It did not end in a crash. It was a very, very dangerous one for sure. A close call tonight on LA streets with one in custody. Live in SkyCal overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Pat, back to you in the studio.